thank you for joining me, Colleen Davis, as we continue this journey of looking for wisdom in ancient texts. You know, as a human being and as a human leader, you are connected to a community, you're connected to a family, and you are connected to a culture and society. Every society or culture has generational wisdom that passes down from one generation to another in stories and in collective wisdom. This is important because we don't want to make the same mistakes as our great-grandparents did or our grandparents did. And who doesn't want to avoid the pain of making mistakes? In this season, we are using the book of Proverbs, which is from the Old Testament, a biblical text that is widely accepted as being written by the wisest man in history, King Solomon, who was the son of King David of Israel. Can knowledge and wisdom from ancient times be relevant in today's world of smartphones and air travel? Well, let's find out. Today we look at chapter 1, verse 20 to 33. And once again, I will be using the version that was written by Eugene Peterson that uses everyday modern English language. It's a long passage, but I will break it down. Are you ready? We start at verse 20. Lady Wisdom goes out in the streets and shouts. At the town center, she makes her speech. In the middle of the traffic, she takes her stand. At the busiest corners, she calls out. Simpletons, how long will you wallow in ignorance? Cynics, how long will you feed your cynicism? Idiots, how long will you refuse to learn? About face, I can revise your life. Look, I'm ready to pour out my spirit on you. I'm ready to tell you all I know. It is. I've called, but you've turned a deaf ear. I've reached out to you, but you've ignored me. We're often so busy, we miss the wisdom around us. It can be found in the middle of the traffic. It can be found in the busy street corner. And how often do we choose to ignore the wisdom that we find? We would rather be cynical. We would rather show our own wisdom. We will be cynical and choose not to hear the wisdom that is around us. Wisdom is always ready to share and to teach, but we have to be ready to learn. It takes a lot of effort to process wisdom, to reflect on it, to find the truth. So we don't, especially when we're younger. Think of a time when you were a child or a teenager, how often we ignored or laughed at good advice and ended up hurting ourselves. Can you remember? The verse continues, verse 25 to 28. Since you laugh at my counsel and make a joke at my advice, how can I take you seriously? I'll turn the tables and joke about your troubles. What if the roof falls in and your life goes to pieces? What if catastrophe strikes and there's nothing to show for your life but rubble and ashes? You'll need me then. You'll call for me, but don't expect an answer. No matter how hard you look, you won't find me. Wow, that's quite severe. I want you to consider, if you do not listen to the wisdom that is given to you, found in the common places, you will suffer consequence. It could be as simple as do not touch a hot stove, and you choose to ignore it, you will get a burnt hand. Once the damage is done, there will always be a scar, either physical, mental, or spiritual, as a reminder of the lesson that you have had to learn. Is it not better to listen to the wisdom and not make that mistake to begin with? What do you think? In the last part of this passage, from verse 29 to 33, it says, because you hated knowledge and had nothing to do with the fear of God, because you wouldn't take my advice and brushed aside all my offers to train you, well, You've made your bed, now lie in it. You want it your own way, now how do you like it? Don't you see what happens, you simpletons, you idiots? Carelessness kills. Complacency is murder. First, pay attention to me, and then relax. Now you can take it easy. You're in good hands. In this passage, when it talks about the fear of God, I believe it is talking about us as human beings not assuming that we are God, which means that we do not have all the answers, which means that we should be open to the wisdom around us. I know we do not like being referred to as simpletons or idiots. But what are you if you do not follow wise advice, sound advice that has been shown to be correct? If you follow wise advice, life isn't easy, but the potholes and barriers that you find in life anyway will not be as numerous. And you will have the resilience and resources to survive and thrive. What do you think? What have you taken out of this passage? It has reminded me that in my personal and business life, I don't have to have all the answers. And I need to be open to the wisdom around me, found in the people and in the stories, if I would just listen and I had an open mind. Wisdom often comes from life experiences, and those are found in the street, passed down from generations. What piece of wisdom has been passed on to you that you have assumed is irrelevant, that doesn't fit in this modern world of internet? Have you chosen to disregard it? Is there not a kernel of truth that you can translate into the world you are in now? Pause for a second and reflect. I want you to perhaps re-look at those words of wisdom, dust them off, take them off the shelf, re-look at them and use them. This was your gift given to you by the previous generations, by the people around you, by your culture, by your society, by your community, by your family. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my thoughts about these ancient words of wisdom. In the next episode, we are going to be looking at why we should prioritize insight. Thank you for your time, and I hope that you have found this helpful.